Hey, everybody, welcome to the Monday edition of Winners and Winers Radio. I am your host, Scott Steehn, with winnersandwiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
And together we make up Winners and Winers Radio. Give us an hour and we'll give you the winners. Scott, gave out some winners. We gave out some losers. How'd you end up doing personally over the weekend?
For the weekend as a whole, it was very good because Friday worked out well. College football was really just clean for me, but with the exception of the one loss we'll get into and call the cops. The NFL, not so much. NFL was not good for me pretty much at all. I went 0-2 on the plays that I gave out. On top of that, I had a DFS matchup with a friend of mine. We started a tradition. We do a head-to-head thing. Like, loser has to take a shot, like stuff, mostly just pride. I lost by 0.6 points. I had Daniel Jones, who was tackled at the 1-yard line and got a concussion in the second quarter. And I had Kadarius Toney, who got ejected with 6 minutes to go for punching somebody in the face. I lost by 0.6. And my fantasy league, I had the second most points in the league this week, and I went up against the number 1 point getter this week. So I went completely over in the betting, the DFS, the fantasy leagues. Just not really a great NFL weekend for me. How was yours?
That's a good answer. We also would have accepted not well.
Yeah.
Middling. We go 500 on the premium side on college ball, and as far as the plays of the day, went 1-2 on the premium side. We kind of got screwed. We had the Chiefs first half 2.5 minus 2.5. They just absolutely no-showed that pretty much that entire game. I thought maybe they'd have the scripted portion of the evening would go well.
I think you just expected Kansas City to be jacked up because everyone's talking about how good this Buffalo team is.
Yeah, I thought the crowd would help. I thought the crowd would be a little intimidating to Buffalo, at least to start out. I thought it might take them a quarter or so to get their feet under them. It didn't, and of course the Chiefs helped by not playing well at all, settling for a field goal the first time down the field. That did not go well. We had the Broncos Steelers under, a bet that looked really good for pretty much all of the game until the very end when the Steelers decided to start playing nominal defense against Denver, let them convert 3 fourth-down plays.
Denver had what, like 3 points through the first 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters?
Yeah, it was brutal. It was just an absolute lock. We were dialed in. And then we had the Lions team total under 20.5. So that was, okay, in spite of the Lions and their flurry there at the end.
I had a live money line play on the Lions in that game. Kind of sums up my week, my NFL week.
There you go. And then we end up splitting on the free side. We did hit a teaser with the Tampa Bay and the Dallas Cowboys, two plays that we could have played a straight parlay and done much better. But you know what? That's kind of how teasers go. You take a 2 or 3 team teaser and you kind of have in your mind that you're going to need the 6 points for one of them.
Well, the best teaser option today was definitely New England because they were laying 8. They won by 3, and you can get them at 2.
Yeah,
it was a miracle cover because Houston punted the game away, but you know
I didn't want any part of that game.
Of course not, because they were missing every offensive lineman they had.
80% of their offensive line, yeah. So, and then we had Mahomes over 2.5 touchdown passes. That was just got jobbed for so many reasons, but we had a shot to win it there at the end. Inexplicably, a terrible game by Mahomes. Still had a shot to win that promise. They've got the ball 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line.
Interception.
And then pretty much sums up the entire game for the Chiefs. Mahomes fumbles a perfect snap and loses it. And
you meant that. I forgot about that. I thought you meant the interception to Rousseau on the drive prior.
Well, there was that.
That was also inside like the 25.
Yep. So I still feel like I'd make that play just about every day because Mahomes was terrible and still should have thrown 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Well, because realistically, in the red zone, they never run the ball. You see the classic shovel pass maneuver, or whatever the hell they usually do.
I was worried about him when it was third and 1 from the 6. I was worried about him busting through and scoring on a run, and they almost did. They got to the 2, and then he threw that little pass to Kelsey. So, anyway, that's how my weekend went. It's been it wasn't profitable in the end. It wasn't horrible. We definitely had better, but you know what? Let's just put it in the rearview mirror and see if we can pick up a little steam going forward. So, yeah, big day. A lot of upsets in college. If it was Survivor Day in college, Scott, you'd have a lot of people crying, wouldn't you?
I would have taken Wisconsin. Hot take.
Taking Wisconsin in your Survivor.
Against Illinois? Yeah. That Illinois team stinks.
Not good. Not good at all.
Well, I don't know if we have time to talk about all the college stuff on the show. At some point this week, we got to talk about the Oklahoma-Texas game, but I'm not sure if it's. Of course, it's going to be on a segment we're about to talk about, but that whole game kind of deserves a deep dive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. A lot going on there, and we had talked about that. Well, I guess I talked about it when I did the Denver show, but we talked about a lot of weird things. It's one of those things, and I hate this expression where you can throw out the records, but that game, it truly your current record, how you're playing, none of that means anything.
There are some rivalries where the record goes out the window because this is the most meaningful game of the regular season for some of these teams.
Right.
The Red River Showdown rivalry, whatever you want to call it, that's easily the most important game on the schedule.
Yep, absolutely correct. So I found out something interesting, and then we'll go because we got to get going. But I was looking up some stuff on rivalries. The MUKU game, the border war, the border showdown, and everything. It started in 1891, which was 26 years after the Civil War ended. It was less than 30 years after they had an actual raid on the town of Lawrence.
Nice.
So so my wife said, so you mean you had people in the stands that survived the Quantrell's raid? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you did. So
I'm sure that was pre-forward pass.
Yes, it was pre-forward pass, but you probably had some salty people in the stands for that game. So yeah, some of those rivalries, they take them a little more seriously than they do at other places. That's
usually in the South.
Usually in the South, absolutely correct. So, like I said, we got a lot to do today. We got a lot to get to. We've got bonus beats. We've got bonus rocking chairs. We got surprises, freak out or chill out, all kinds of fun stuff. So let's quit yakking and get right to it, Scott. We'll start it off the way we always do to find out the people out there crying in their beer. They took it in the shorts, thought they had a winner, right up until the time they didn't. Looking at you, Detroit. Let's find out who stars in today's Call the Cops. All right, my friend, let's get it rolling in Texas. Scott, there you go. It's the Texas plus 3.5. If you had them like I did against Oklahoma, they led by 11 after the third quarter and blew many leads, by the way. Oklahoma had the ball in field goal range in a tie game with 10 seconds left. Shut them down. Let them kick the field goal. We all go home happy. No,
they got one more offensive play.
One more offensive play. You're just going to run the ball. You get it in position. You call that last timeout, kick the field goal, go home. Bob's your uncle. That's not exactly what happened. What happened, Scott?
They broke it.
Oh, my God. Broke it off a left tackle. Untouched once he made it because, they're jamming the line. So once you make it through that first level, it's a foot race. And spoiler alert, you ain't going to win. And Texas scored the touchdown, kicked the extra point. And
you mean Oklahoma scored the touchdown?
Texas ends up losing by 7. If you had the Longhorns plus 3.5, horns down, baby. Call the cops.
And the second one was a play that I had. Well, I had the spread, but if you had South Alabama money line against Texas State, it was even worse. I gave out the -3. It was the only loss I had in college over the entire weekend. South Alabama led by 14 points with the ball with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. They called a flea flicker. They handed it off to the running back. Turns around to pitch it back to the quarterback. Pitched backwards. Was intercepted by the other team. Never seen it before. Texas State converted 2 separate fourth downs, scored a touchdown. No big deal. You're still up 7 with the ball, 5 minutes to go. South Alabama, a couple first downs. They punt. Needed to avoid an 85-yard touchdown drive. 4th and goal at the 1-yard line with 19 seconds to go. Texas State scores. We go to overtime. South Alabama gets the ball first, scores first. Texas State gets the ball second. They tie it again, go to double overtime. Texas State gets ball first, field goal off the upright. So all you have to do is hit a field goal. South Alabama's running back fumbles the ball on 3rd down. You go to the 2-point conversion alternating format, and South Alabama eventually lost in quadruple overtime.
Oof.
So I had the spread of -3, so I was already dead when the third overtime started. But if you had the money line, you had to suffer through that a bit longer, about 20 minutes longer or so.
Here's what I want to know. And if anybody out there knows the answer to this, drop us a comment. I want to know if anybody has ever covered a double-digit spread in overtime. Has it ever happened? Like you go down, you score the touchdown, and then you either get a scoop and score, or the guy throws you the pick like right to him, and you just take off running and score the other way.
I know Syracuse covered a spread in overtime, but I'm pretty sure they won by 9. I think they kicked the field goal and then scored a touchdown. I don't know if it was double digits or not.
Same deal though. It's a 2.
That happened last year.
Okay, all right, there you go. Well, see, I don't even have to. So if you're already writing a comment, stop it. I already know the answer. So
you said double digits. That I don't know.
Well, I just meant 2 scores basically.
Yeah. At least I'm pretty sure it was Syracuse, but that happened either last year or a couple years ago.
All right, very good. And if you had Memphis first half minus half a point playing Tulsa, you're pretty good shape. They led by 6 points with 38 seconds left before halftime. Tulsa had the ball at their own 25. My God, seriously, guys, I know you don't have much of a defense, but surely you can stop them from going 7. Nope. 75 yards. They scored a TD, Scott. They didn't even need all that time. They had 11 seconds left on the clock. They only needed 27 seconds to go 75 yards. Memphis, you're down, baby. 14-13 at halftime. If you had Memphis minus a half, so sorry, Charlie. Call the cops.
And the last one in college was Louisville moneyline against Virginia, led by 17 points going into the fourth quarter. Virginia converted 2 separate fourth downs en route to the go-ahead touchdown with 22 seconds left. So that's already bad enough. Louisville got the ball back, managed to get into field goal range, and missed the kick at the buzzer. So Virginia won the game outright.
Brutal. Turning our attention to the pros. If you had the Washington football team first half +1, playing the Saints, you're in pretty good shape. They're tied with 7 seconds left. All you need to do, knock it down. Couldn't do it. They sent 3 into the end zone. One of them caught it on the Hail Mary before halftime. Congratulations, football team. Now you trail 20-13. And just like our tax money in Washington, that bet went up in smoke.
And the last one in the NFL was the Bengals. Team total over 23.5. You can really go with anything in this game because this game was just nuts. But the Bengals missed a field goal as time expired in the fourth quarter, and they missed a field goal in overtime. To make matters worse, the kicker celebrated the missed kick in overtime because he thought it went in. It did not, and the Bengals lost 25-22.
Why are you kicking field goal there?
Which time?
The last time that they missed the field goal, the 49-yarder. Why are you kicking a 49?
It was 4th and 1, right?
Yes, it was 4th and 1 from the 32. Why?
It wasn't even better when LaFleur made it. They kicked it on 4th and inches with a kicker who missed 3 straight.
Those were just 2 of the worst decisions I've ever seen as far as kicking a field goal. It's windy. It's a horrible day. They missed 5 at that point. They'd missed 4 in a row at that point.
They missed. No, it was 3 in a row because Crosby missed on the other end, I thought.
Well, that made it 4.
I lost track of everything in that game.
The Cincinnati miss at the flag was the 5th one.
Okay.
So
then Crosby made the next one.
Which was an NFL record, by the way, for the shortest period of time.
Truth is, I know that you kind of have to kick it at the end of regulation. Settling for a 57-yarder in the wind on 4th and 2 with like 10 seconds to go, I really would not have minded if you ran another play. I get that you kind of feel like you have to try to attempt it, but with the wind and all, there was no chance it was going in.
The big 5 to 7 yards there you could have picked up, throw a little out pattern in 4 seconds.
I still think it's inexcusable. LaFleur kicked it. I know Crosby made the kick, finally. 4th and inches, you really can't sneak it for a yard?
Dumb.
Whatever.
Dumb.
It was just bad.
All right, so the opposite of calling the cops, this is the place you want to be. These are the nice, easy victories. I'm going to guess we're going to go through the list here, probably not be on the right side of many of them, Scott. But I know there's lots of people out there that had a great weekend. So let's find out who you are. Stand up and be proud as you were sitting in the rocking chair.
So the first one was Texas A&M plus 19 against Bama. They never trailed by more than 4 points, and they actually won the game outright.
Brutal. Well, I guess Bama's out now, huh? They're done.
Sure. I feel bad for Mississippi State. They play Bama next week.
If you had the Morehead State Presbyterian under 90.5, first of all, congratulations on your cojones. But it was never a doubt. They had 30 points in the first half, and they picked up the pace a little bit in the second half, but not enough. The game landed 68. That's only under by 23 points. Congratulations if you had the Blue Hose and the Morehead State. What are they?
Damn it.
Moccasins?
Eagles? They the Eagles?
You know,
It's definitely a bird. I'm pretty sure it's Eagles.
Eagles Tigers is a pretty good default, but let's say Eagles. I don't think that's right, but whatever. If you had under 90.5, you were cruising. You're in the rocking chair. Congratulations.
And looking at the next one, if you had Texas Tech minus 2.5, I'm sorry, you had TCU minus 2.5 against Texas Tech. You led by 25 points at the half, and you won by 21. So, by the way, it is the Morehead State Eagles. So,
all right.
Thank you very much. Let's go.
Well, I mean, again, it's a pretty good default guess.
No, but I just recognized the logo. I was trying to think I was trying to guess the right bird in my head.
Yeah, the Texans +8 against the Patriots, a play that I liked quite a bit, by the way. Patriots missing 4 of their 5 linemen. Texans never trailed until the final 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Man, that's much worse than like trailing in the first 15 seconds, and then that's it. But yeah, Patriots going to do what Patriots going to do. Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. You know the drill.
They kicked my ass on the team total under.
Texans lose by 3.
Yep. And the last one, Titans and Jaguars over.
But they covered the 8. Sorry.
Titans and Jaguars over 49. You had 37 points in the first half. Game landed 56.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. All right. Quick reminder, you guys, you are listening to Winners and Whiners Radio. Give us an hour and we'll give you the winners. Well, Scott, we had a lot of competitors for this next award. A lot of people wanted in. They've heard about it. We're starting to get out there. We're starting to pick up some steam. They all want to wear the golden feed bag, but only one of them can. It's a very competitive day, but we found a winner, Scott. Let's find out who it is. Who is today's Donkey of the Day? Go ahead.
So for this one, we're going to be looking at NFL Sunday as a whole. And I've mentioned my gripe with officiating, particularly around this rule, for a while. But it really started in the early morning in the London game and carried over into the Sunday night game. What's the deal with the roughing the passer penalty?
What is the deal with roughing the passer?
Because it used to be so simple, and now you can't hit the guy high. Nope. You can't hit the guy low, which happened with Mahomes in that game.
All right, you got him in the strike zone.
And apparently you can't hit the guy in the middle either because the Jets on the opening drive hit Matt Ryan as he released the ball to the chest. No launching, no nothing, roughing the passer. Right. And Frank Clark in the Sunday night game did the same exact thing. The ball was intercepted, got overturned for roughing the passer. I don't know how you're supposed to try to tackle a quarterback if you're a defensive lineman.
I don't want to be too much of a homer here, but I thought the one against Clark was egregious. Just absolutely no reason.
It was the same as the Jets one this morning.
Well, if you thought I was up at 8:30 watching football.
But I'm saying in general, the point is, if you're not allowed to hit them low to protect, the Brady rule, okay. You can't hit them up high because you're doing the no targeting, no whatever. Like, okay, fine. You can't hit them in the chest either. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I know. They need to explain themselves. They need to let us know. I understand the one that went against Buffalo against Mahomes.
Because that was low, even if he was blocked into him or not, whatever.
Well, you had two guys taking a shot at his legs. One of them was blocked into him. The other one
one was the least egregious out of the other ones we talked about.
Although you've certainly seen that not called many times.
Yeah.
That a lot of times they let him play. And we hadn't talked about this, but here's another one. Just over if we're going to bitch about officiating in general,
you kind of have to with the NFL, right?
Can we just acknowledge that you're not ever going to call pass interference at the goal line on a Hail Mary pass, no matter what you do?
Are you saying because the Cleveland guy got tackled?
Absolutely. You knew exactly the game and exactly the play I was talking about. That is exactly correct. You're throwing them down. They did it to the Chiefs a couple weeks ago.
You also had a primetime game where you had the Chiefs and Bills. You had 17 confirmed calls, not including all the ones that were declined.
Yep.
What do you think you had? North of 22 flags?
Yeah, defensive holding was the big one. And there was a couple of really weird calls.
And we talked about this earlier this week, where I have a hard time just really enjoying the NFL at times because all the scoring feels artificial. It's
Anytime
just
there's
crazy.
anytime there's a play,
You're looking for the yellow.
your eyes immediately go to the bottom right quadrant of your TV to look for that yellow box to pop up. That's exactly right, especially on any kind of a kick return.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So I don't, nobody wants to see everybody get hurt. I understand that. You're trying to protect the quarterback. We lost some quarterbacks today. There has to be a happy medium. You have to be able to define it, because defenders still have to be able to rush the passer, and they still have to be able to tee off when the passer has the ball in his hand. That's
I think
rule.
the body weight rule for roughing the passer is one of the stupidest rules I've ever heard in my life.
They don't really call that much anymore. They kind of did that a couple years ago, and then
Well, you can make an argument that's why they called it on Clark, because his body weight was on Allen to the ground. But if you're going to tackle the guy, I'm not an expert in gravity. I'm not Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. But if you tackle somebody and you are aiming downward, isn't your body weight automatically going to be on top of the other guy?
Well, you've left your feet when you're driving. And once the quarterback starts to go, you're leaving your feet because you're going to the ground with them.
Yeah,
and it takes quite an effort to contort your body in midair when all your momentum is going to one, and then somehow.
Are you supposed to, like Mission Impossible, disengage while you're falling to the ground and then roll off? I don't know what you're supposed to do.
Roll to one side. I don't really understand what you're supposed to do.
It's just roughing. It's really officiating as a whole, but the roughing the passer call. There were so many instances that it was just, we had to talk about it. It's brutal.
Yeah, it is. This isn't me as a Chiefs fan with sour grapes. You can't go out and lose by 3 scores and go, well, the officials are. But
my Jets team stinks, but it was still not roughing the passer.
No, they're just terrible calls. So, stay tuned. As they say, watch this space, because I'm guessing this isn't the last time you and I are going to talk about this.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. Well, let's find out who it is. It's every kid's worst nightmare when your parents look at you and you've screwed up, but you're ready to take your medicine, but no, they've got to make you feel guilty about it. Let's find out, Scott. Not mad, just disappointed. That is extremely appropriate for.
I'm going to let you take this one.
I believe I will. Thank you. Today, in our I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed spotlight is going to be my beloved Chiefs and their defensive effort. They gave up 38 points to the Buffalo Bills. And quite frankly, it feels like the Bills probably left about 10 points on the field.
If it didn't start raining, they might have scored 50.
I guarantee it. And I don't want to say I'm salty because I had first team to 40 for the Bills at plus 600. I'm just saying. But this defense is absolutely dreadful. If you are a regular listener to the show, I've addressed it before. They have schematic issues in the linebacking core. The front four outside of Chris Jones has been underperforming.
Sorensen.
I was saving the best for last, buddy. Dirty Dan Sorensen has no business being on a football field unless there's a kick. He can play kickoff coverage. He can play punt return, but he cannot play anywhere in your regular defensive scheme. He was absolutely abused. He looked out of position, and when he wasn't out of position, he was missing tackles, Scott. It was a team effort. You lose as a team, you win as a team, but sometimes, a horrific performance, particularly horrific performance, stands out. And tonight, for me, that was number 49, Dirty Dan Sorensen. Good guy, hard-nosed player. One of those guys you say, I'd like to have 53 of him. No, you wouldn't. You'd like to have 53 good players with his attitude. Sorry, guys. Chiefs defense, Dan Sorensen, Steve Spagnuolo, all of you people, you got to go. And I'm not mad. Well, maybe I am just a little mad, but I'm very disappointed.
Yep. Pretty much nothing more to add.
Nothing at all. All right, Scott. I fell for the banana in the tailpipe on this one. I couldn't resist. Like Roger Rabbit and shave and a haircut, I couldn't resist. Let's find out at my expense. Scott, why were the odds makers drunk this weekend?
So we're going to go back to college in this one, and it's a total between two teams in the CUSA that play less the defense than the Chiefs. You had UTSA taking on Western Kentucky. We mentioned Western Kentucky ad nauseum in the past, how Zappy's a great quarterback, the defense stings. UTSA, great running team, defense has been underwhelming this season. Anyway, total in this one was 71.5, which sounded a bit too high until you saw 52 points in the first half, and the game ended up landing at 98.
I got to be honest with you. I thought I was in trouble at halftime.
That's fair. They weren't taking enough air out of the ball for UTSA. They were gaining too much on the ground plays.
Honestly, that's what I was worried about. I really was, because that was what I was basing everything on, the fact that UTSA, number 3 in the country at running plays, I thought they would just absolutely pound the rock down the throat and limit the opportunities of Zappy. But when you give up rushing yards at 15, 20 a pop, they don't take long to get down there and score, and then you get the ball right back. So congratulations.
I think Western Kentucky, I think, is a blind 75, if not higher team.
Have to be. I can't take an under with this team. There's just absolutely no way. They're the perfect.
Unless you're playing like Southern Miss, like you're playing an abysmal offense. I think you have to be somewhere in the 70s.
Yep, absolutely. So the odds makers were drunk, and so was I. That was not, and I made that one of my top 3 picks. I'm serious. I had to have been drunk there. All right, so we've got we had a couple of close calls, Scott. There might have been some money on some various teams, but let's find out what survivors went down in flames yesterday, my friend.
There's really only one.
Yeah, it certainly could have gone a lot worse, but it didn't. And if you had the
Raiders, you lost.
Yeah, the Raiders. Yeah, so I was just looking to see if there was anything else, but no.
No, that was it. The favorites did pretty well. You had a couple of close calls because the Lions choked against the Vikings, which was actually the most common pick in the circuit competition. You had like 1,300 people who had the Vikings, so that was a sweat and a half for those people. If you had New England, you were losing the entire game until the final 15 seconds against Houston.
Well, there might have been some Packers out there too.
Yeah, some Packers too. But pretty much, if you had the Raiders, you're the only one who lost.
Yep, absolutely true. So congratulations, all you survivors. Scott and I died a grisly death last weekend. So
yes, we did.
We are not survivors any longer. And now it is time to find out what we should be doing. We've seen some action in the NFL. We've got 5 weeks in. Let's find out if it's time to freak out. Chill out, dude. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills. They're all fresh in our memory here as we do this show. They're the best team in the league, Scott.
I said that 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the best team. I don't think it's close.
I
think Arizona's good. Don't get me wrong, but Buffalo, I just think, has another gear about them. I don't know what it is. I expected Kyler to struggle a little bit against San Francisco because he always does, but they ended up winning the game anyway. I just think Buffalo is insanely good, and I said that after they killed Washington in week 2. I thought that this team was the best team in the league. So I'm not surprised. I'm not even disappointed. I'm kind of proud.
I'm not sure. I'm still not sure. I still am not convinced they played anybody.
Who's it between? It's between them and Arizona, and do you put Tampa in that conversation?
You do put Tampa. You absolutely put Tampa in that conversation.
Who's Tampa played?
What's that?
Tampa got killed by the Rams. Who else did they play? They beat Dallas in week 1.
Beat the Cowboys.
Awful defense in week 1.
You can honestly make a case that Dallas is the best team either one of these teams have played.
That's fair, but you can make an argument week 1 you can't really read into because the Bills lost to the Steelers in week 1.
Well, I was going to say, and that's a hard case to make if I'm going to make the case for the Packers too, because they got obliterated by New Orleans. So
yeah, but I'm looking at the Buccaneers. The offense is great. They really let Brissett go up and down the field for about 2 quarters.
That was surprising. It really was.
But I think Buffalo defensively, they have talent. They have a defensive line that can get after you, and that offense is really, really good. So I think Buffalo's the best team in the league.
Yeah, if they're not, they're certainly very, very close.
I think they're top 2. And in my opinion, they're not 2.
I would have probably argued a little bit for the Browns before that horrific defensive effort against the Chargers. Just couldn't get any kind of stops when they needed to. So Yeah, I'm with you. I think they probably are.
Mm.
Again, and I don't know, they've really got a weak schedule. We were looking at that. The AFC East plays the South of the NFC and the AFC this season. Those are just horrific teams. So there's 8 games against.
Crappy competition.
I was going to say except for Tampa Bay, maybe New Orleans, but everybody else is just awful.
I don't know if the New Orleans game is in New Orleans or in Buffalo,
Matters.
but either way, the way I see it is that Buffalo, we talked about when the win totals just came out. Our favorite win total is Buffalo over.
Yep.
And you know why? It's a really good team with a really easy schedule.
Yes, sir. Absolutely correct. And
they'll win 13 or 14 games.
They're playing good football. I thought Josh Allen did a decent job. He was.
I thought his scrambling was huge.
Yeah. Oh no, and his design runs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he 15 for 26, 315, and just every time he threw the ball over 30 yards, somebody's wide open.
Yep.
It was the most.
It made me laugh how it didn't even matter who the receiver was. Like everyone was wide open.
Oh, I think they looked whoever Sorensen was guarding, but
pretty much.
Was pretty much, and they did have a nice completion over Fenton when it was that Knox? Was it Knox down the right sideline?
Yes.
Caught kind of the fade, or
yeah.
I mean the back shoulder,
mm-hmm.
but that was Fenton kind of that was the only he had a decent position, but everything else it just smoked Sorensen. I don't know. Dawson Knox is still open, I think. How many receptions did it seem like Dawson Knox had?
It felt like he had about 9, but he had about 4, but it was just for like 100 and something yards.
He had 3. He had 3 for 1.
3. That's even less than I thought.
3 for 117.
It was the same thing with Sanders. I was against Emmanuel Sanders in fantasy. He had 2 touchdowns. You look up, he's 3 receptions.
3 receptions. Well, yeah, because Allen only had 15 completions.
Yeah.
So now I will say this: the weather was brutal at the stadium. I've told you before. I'm about 5 miles away as the crow flies. I can go to the top of the hill outside my apartment complex and see the lights of the stadium. So I'm close. So I know what kind of weather was. It was an ugly, ugly day, but there was no excuse. I thought Mahomes was terrible. One of his worst games as a pro for me.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
He was just inaccurate all night long. Ironically, the 2 passes that got picked off, probably neither one of them should have been. Well, one of them went right through Tyreek Hill's hands. Yeah. That one definitely shouldn't have been.
And the other one got tipped at the line.
Yep, and the other one, of course, as my son said, he was due not to get away with that sidearm shit. So, and and that's the thing, he throws them underneath those defenders' arms all the time. And Russo finally.
I'm trying to think what the first one I ever saw do that was. Did Marino ever sprinkle with that?
Well, Flutie was kind of an arm angle guy.
But kind of had to be, right?
Yeah, and he did. Elway would improvise a lot.
I know Big Ben did it a decent amount during his prime.
On the run,
Stafford did it a lot too.
3/4 sidearm stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, that's about all I want to talk about with that team.
I got another question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Man, I thought they were going to be the best team in a bad division.
They are.
They are the best.
You weren't wrong with your theory.
No, but they are arguably one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. I think you put Tampa Bay up there, you put Arizona up there, and I think you put the Cowboys up there.
I would probably put the Rams in front of the Cowboys, but I don't know what's going on with Stafford. I think Stafford has some type of hand issue because he's extremely inconsistent with his throws this season.
Didn't look good. Didn't look ideal the last time out. So I'll throw one out to you. I just glutton for punishment. Chiefs missed the playoffs this year.
Do the Chiefs miss the playoffs?
Yeah.
First place schedule I'm going to say no because they added an extra team. You might be the 7. You might be the first ever 7 seed. You're the 7 seed nobody wants to play, but the more I watch the Chargers, the more I like this team to win the division. But that's why I said going into the year, set up an arbitrage, take the Chiefs and the Chargers, make guaranteed money. Because Denver and the Raiders, they're not winning the division.
They're doing Denver and Raider things right now.
I said I thought the Raiders stunk, and they haven't won since. They were undefeated when I said that. They haven't won a game since.
Yeah, a lot of fool's gold out there with 3-0 teams this year before reality struck. So,
but to go back to the Cowboys, I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit. This team's very good, and they torched Carolina's defense, which gave Philly fits for about 2.5 quarters, but they
Right.
choked the game away anyway. They beat a really banged-up Giants team that got even more injured as the game went on. They beat the Eagles, who we both think aren't very good. They beat Carolina, and they lost a very close game to Tampa, which, was very close and whatever. I'm skipping a game in there, but the point is, you know what I mean. They haven't really played against anybody or beaten anybody that's worth a damn. The Tampa performance, impressive, but the defense, I think, is also a product of the weak schedule.
I'll ask the same question that I'll ask with Buffalo. They're playing a weak schedule. They're beating, but
They slow down the Chiefs' offense. That counts.
They're not beating good teams. But the question is, do they have to?
They shut down the Chiefs' offense. That counts for me.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Yeah, and I've been talking a lot about how this Chiefs team just looks different. They just look out of sync. They're not.
And the Cowboys are better than the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably. I think they are. You've got, especially if Edwards-Helaire is going to be out.
I think he will be. It didn't look great.
It didn't look good. I think Kelsey will be back.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as a Barkley injury where you think he's probably done for the year, but
right. Right. No, that's a shame. Good kid, good running back.
I'm not surprised, but it's a sad story,
Yep, it is. Justin Herbert, Scott, is he already a top 10 quarterback in the league?
Yeah. I don't think it's close. I think you can make an argument, honestly, if you wanted to, for top 7, top 6. I think he's tremendous. I don't really know what more you want from the guy. He wins games when his defense is good. He wins games when his defense stinks. He can throw it deep. He can run. He's really everything you want. I don't know what more you want.
Go down the list. Better than Lamar Jackson?
Personally, I think he is, but nobody would agree with me because Lamar is an MVP. I'd rather have Herbert if I was starting a team.
Stafford or Herbert?
I'd take Herbert.
Russell?
Russell's tricky. I would take a healthy Russ. But I can't evaluate him properly because the Seahawks have done absolutely nothing to help him for the last 7 years. I'm taking Russell Wilson, though.
Okay. Mahomes or Allen?
I'm taking Mahomes and Allen.
Okay. Rodgers?
Taking Rodgers.
Brady?
I'm taking Brady, but okay. Yeah.
Okay. We could be about done. Here's a comp you hear.
How many do we name? We named 5 or 6. So I got Herbert in the top 6 or 7.
So yeah, and I think
that's right.
I think that's going to be about it.
People would disagree with me about Lamar. Maybe it's just me, but I just think Herbert has more upside. I think Herbert's just better.
Would you take him over Derek Carr?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that's a sarcastic question. Yes, I'm 100% taking him over Derek Carr.
No, there's a lot of people that think Derek Carr's an elite quarterback.
I said I thought he was above average and he was competent, but he didn't look like it against the Bears yesterday.
Baker? Take him
Hell
over Baker?
No.
Okay.
You're reaching now. You're just reaching. Dak is tough. I think Dak and Herbert are neck and neck. I think they're right there.
Kyler Murray? Go home, you're drunk. Go home, you're drunk. Okay, so he squeaks into the top 10. I won't even make the answer because you already have. You know the answer.
I said top 10, so yeah.
Yeah, that's about where he is. But he's not top 5. He's not there yet. He could be.
I put Kyler ahead of him, but I do think it's pretty close.
Okay.
Because I do think that Murray has a system in place which is built around just building up a bunch of stats.
What do you think? You think Herbert drew one out of a hat?
Truth is, I don't even know. Herbert succeeded in Anthony Lynn's universe.
He's got a couple pretty good weapons too.
Yes, he does. I'll take Murray, but I do think it's very, very close.
Okay, all right, very good. Yeah, he's solid. He's a top 10 quarterback. Well, yeah, that's. And anytime you get a question like that, you got to go through the list and you got to see who.
Would you take him over Lamar? I feel like the main question mark we had was him over Lamar or him over Dak.
I don't like Lamar. I think he's too inconsistent throwing the football.
I agree.
I would take him over Lamar. Lamar has a very unique aspect to his game in the running.
I just think you have to build your entire offense around a run-first system, which has proven time and time again in the playoffs it does not work.
I have seen so many running quarterbacks come to a bad end, starting with, you could go back to Bobby Douglas of the Bears, but then you've got Dante Culpepper, you got Randall Cunningham, you got
you can talk about Tarkenton if you want to go all the way back.
Michael Vick. Well, it didn't It actually didn't end. It ended okay for targeting. He played.
No, I know it did. It didn't fit your narrative, but I'm saying he also ran. He threw the ball a lot, but he also ran around like a chicken without a head half the time.
Right, and they also, I don't believe they quite had the injuries they have nowadays for whatever reason. I think it's just speed and size.
I'm not saying Lamar's bad, but people put him in the top 10, top whatever, and I don't see it that way.
Nope. Now he has done a better job of throwing the ball this year. His accuracy has really improved. He's actually kind of a quarterback. So I'm not completely convinced, but you know what? We'll see.
I'm taking Herbert over him.
Okay, very good. And last but not least,
by the way, the wild card in that top 10 is Deshaun Watson. We don't have to talk about that.
Nope, out of sight, out of mind, buddy. We have one more award to give out, Scott, and we're going to have to step away from the gridiron. A lot of great performances in football today, but one performance stood out. Let's find out who it was. Who is deserving of the fanfare and the winner of the gambling hero of the day? A beautiful tone.
Yep.
Scott, you wouldn't know it from listening to this show. There's also another sport going on right now, and it's kind of important. They're playing the playoffs, and that's Major League Baseball. Man, is Major League Baseball like your summer girlfriend, and then like your regular girlfriend gets back from vacation, and you don't even pay attention to your summer girlfriend? That's the way I feel about MLB. You know, we were doing every show. We're betting it. We're making picks. And then football starts. We're like, who now? Oh, no, we don't do that. But the playoffs are going on, and we had a pretty good game. Speaking of a game we could talk about for about half an hour with the call there in center field, the ground rule double and whatnot. But the Rays and the Red Sox ended up going to 13 innings. And this game was crying out for a hero, and they got one. And Christian Vasquez, wow, talking about all the big bats, hit a walk-off two-run dinger in the bottom of the 13th. Bob's your uncle, Red Sox. You live to play another day. Christian Vasquez, you are the gambling hero.
Well, it's not even living another day. They're up 2-1 in the series, but still.
That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was
force of habit. You thought Tampa beat the Red Sox.
Yeah, it was Houston that's up 2-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Sox snuck out that second game in Tampa. You're absolutely correct. So let's take a look at the MLB playoffs, shall we, Scott?
Let's do it.
We've got a full game. We have a full slate mañana as Milwaukee plays game 4 against Atlanta.
Well, a full slate.
Game 3.
A full slate, kind of, because there's not many betting lines out for a couple of these games.
Yeah, it is kind of as we speak right here, there's a couple of games that have some questions as far as the starters go. Well,
I see 3 lines. I got nothing on the Houston game.
Yeah, they finally announced pitchers there in the other one, but you got nothing in the Tampa Bay Boston.
No, I actually got something on Tampa Boston.
What do you got?
DraftKings actually just posted. It's -110 both sides, total of 9.
There's no pitchers.
Correct.
We play that.
You wait until they announce pitchers.
You're just a junkie.
I'm just saying they did post a line about 10 minutes ago. So there is a line up on that game with no pitchers. Houston just has nothing. There's just nothing on that game.
Terrific. All right. So Milwaukee and Atlanta tied 1-1, heading back to hot Atlanta for a couple of games there.
Yeah, so 1 o'clock baseball game on Monday that I'm sure nobody knew was happening at 1 o'clock.
That's the old school, man.
I figured it would be 3 o'clock.
You know, I can remember they used to play World Series games on like Thursday afternoon.
I remember being in elementary school when the Yankees were playing against Detroit, and I was trying to find updates from like my computer teacher because he had access to MLB.com.
Nice. Very nice. Milwaukee and Atlanta tied 1-1. Freddie Peralta goes against Ian Anderson. Atlanta's the favorite here, Scott. Freddie Peralta pitching pretty well. But right now, as it stands, a little bit of Atlanta money coming in. How are you stand on this one?
I'm going with Milwaukee just because of the fact that I think Peralta's the much better pitcher. I like Jethro. This season hasn't been too kind for him. He's had some injury issues. He really has been up and down. Peralta's just been great. Mm-hmm. So you got an advantage with the starting pitcher. I'll look at the first 5. I know the Brewers can hit, which is, of course, a bit of a problem. So I can't take the over with Milwaukee. I'm looking at the under, and I'm looking at hold my nose Peralta first 5. You?
I'm the same way. Peralta has not pitched well. He's pitched okay.
Actually, you know what? I'll go Brewers full game instead of first five because Atlanta's bullpen. Milwaukee didn't score against them last game, but they had a bunch of guys on base.
They're challenged. Peralta's given up 7 over his last 11 and a third, covering 2 starts. That's not ideal. But as far as his overall season goes, he's been pitching very well. Like I said, Ian Anderson, most of the season's been a struggle. He's straightened out a little bit lately. I've got this one pretty close to a pick 'em as far as the pitchers go, and I think the
You like Atlanta's offense. So I can tell you're going to Atlanta.
no,
Really?
I can't do it. No, I think Peralta gets the best of them at the end of the day. And you know what? I don't hate this Milwaukee offense. They can.
Well, so far in the series, I hate this offense.
No, they haven't. They haven't been good. They haven't been good lately. I'm hoping a change of scenery maybe helps them out a little bit. But
I'm assuming you agree with me about the under, though, right? Like I cannot take an over based on what I've seen in these first 2 games of the series.
no, you can't. You can't do it. You got 2 quality starting pitchers. You've got 1 really good bullpen in the Brewers, and you've got 2
terrible offense or an underwhelming offense in the Brewers.
Yeah, they're definitely offensively challenged. So
Yep.
yeah, that's my feel on that one. And you've got the Houston Astros. Now, this is the one I don't have a line on at all.
We don't know who's pitching for Houston.
I've got Urquidy.
That sounds about right because they used everyone else yesterday, so it should be Urquidy.
I've got Urquidy going against Rodon.
Yeah, Rodon I have listed. I don't have a Houston pitcher listed.
And again, apologies if that's not correct, but that's what we've got listed right now. We don't have odds on that. I would figure that would be somewhere in the neighborhood of White Sox minus 120. Yeah, right there. What you got?
I'm taking Houston. Going into the series, we both said Houston in 4, and I said specifically Chicago would win game 3 with Cease pitching at home. That's exactly what I said. It's exactly what happened. I'm taking Houston to wrap up the series. I'm 3 for 3 in this series. Might as well ride it, don't you think?
Yep. Of course, that series is also tied 1-1.
But seriously, though, Rodon, he's been great this year, but he's been injured for the last couple months. I know he pitched a little bit at the end of the regular season. I don't know if he's giving you any length. And the White Sox bullpen, they used most of the really good guys yesterday. Houston kind of threw in Greinke in a mop-up role. They knew that they were behind, so they didn't really use everybody. I'm really concerned if Rodon does not give them length, which he probably shouldn't. I'm assuming Rodon goes 4 or 5 here. Do you really trust some of these guys going on back-to-back days or throwing in a Kimbrel in there? Absolutely not, so I'll take Houston.
Well, Rodon, by the way, I misspoke. Houston's up 2-1 in this one. I think I said it was tied. Houston's going 2-1 after the White Sox won. You know, Rodon, he came back the 26th of August, and he's been okay. You're right. He's not going to give you much length.
What's the distance though? Usually around 5.
He's going to give you 5. That's exactly what he's gone 5 innings in every start except the start before last against Detroit.
So I'm asking, do you trust Rodon and about 4 innings of Chicago bullpen compared to Urquidy and 4 innings of Houston bullpen?
If I was going to play any kind of Chicago, I would play first 5.
Okay.
But I still think the Astros have the advantage. They certainly have the advantage with the bats right now. They're swinging the bats really well. Of course, the White Sox came roaring back. Do you think that's going to give them any kind of momentum? Do you think that's going to give them the jolt they need to even up the series?
I find that whole narrative extremely overrated. Baseball is the games are so independent of each other that I don't think it matters. You see teams all the time score 12 runs one day, next day they score 1. And you go, what happened? I thought it would roll over. It's because with new pitchers, with new scenery, with a full night of rest, whatever, I don't really buy that. Houston's been there. They've done that before. I think they'll be ready to go. The question is Chicago going to be fat and happy after winning 1 game in a series they're trailing?
Well, you would think La Russa, you have the veteran manager.
Sure.
You think he could get them off that narrative?
I think it might be his last game as the manager of Chicago, so we'll see what happens.
Houston take care of business and finish it up?
Plus money? I'm taking Houston. Not laying with Chicago.
You have to, don't you?
I hate that bullpen. I can't do it.
You hate the bullpen?
For Chicago, they used a decent amount of their good relievers yesterday, so it's even worse than it was before the game yesterday.
Can I be the first to say, bummer?
Yeah. Bummer might pitch, and he was awful in game 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Tampa Bay at Boston. The Red Sox, Scott, don't look now. The wild card team from the East going to give it a shot of knocking off the division winner.
Well, I picked Tampa, but in general,
Well, you're down.
I did phrase the question if there was value on Boston before the series solely because they've faced each other 19 times. They know everything about everybody on the roster. And
Right.
Tampa was about minus 180 in the series. So I mentioned there might have been a little bit of value on Boston based on that premise, but I thought Tampa would still win the series. They still might win the series.
Yep.
But I don't know who the hell is pitching for either team.
Well, it looks like Eduardo Rodriguez is what I have.
Okay. He pitched game one, didn't he? No, he pitched game one.
No, that's just what I'm saying.
He got shelled, but he pitched game one.
Yep.
And Tampa's got somebody.
Who knows?
Is Archer alive? Is he out for the year?
There's no way Archer's on the postseason roster.
I'm assuming he's not. I'm trying to think of any pitcher who started a game. Waka? Using Waka for game 3?
Might. Yeah.
And he's been very good for the last month.
Not bad. Could be.
Archer was a complete, just random name. I'm like, who the hell was a starter for this Tampa team during the course of the year? But Waka's probably the guy.
So you've got, and see, I show the Westgate. It has Tampa's a slight favorite, and I've got DraftKings show Boston as a slight favorite.
I see minus 110, so whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going with Tampa just because I think it's going 5.
I'm not going to make a prediction until I find out who's pitching.
Based on the fact that we don't know who's doing it, I'm speculating.
Rodriguez and Waka, I like Tampa Bay.
I think if it's just Waka, I like Tampa Bay.
Well, if Rodriguez struggled and coming back on short rest.
But I'm saying, let's just say it's not even Rodriguez. Let's say they throw out, it's not Pivetta because he pitched yesterday.
Right.
You throw Houck out there for a couple innings and then you just make something up. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
Well, that was somebody that we could have put as gambling hero was Pivetta for saving the bullpen.
Yeah.
Because now, you find yourself in trouble like Tampa is. All right. And the last game is going to be Wood versus Scherzer. You know what? Let's not spoil it, Scott. Let's talk about that one here in just a minute. We do have
football.
We do have football. Manning brothers back?
No, they're off until week 7.
Oh, God. I need my fix, man. Alex Wood. Oh no, we're gonna wait on that one. My bad.
What an exciting football game for Monday night.
I'm still seeing Daniel Sorensen let guys get behind. Colts and Ravens tonight, my friend. Ravens 7-point favorite.
Thank you, NFL, for putting the Colts on national television.
46 is pretty much your number. Well, before the season, they were talking about being competitive there in the South.
I don't know who they are, but it wasn't us.
They're 1-3. No, we didn't like this team at all. We thought they had quarterback problems, and they do.
I picked them last week against Miami, though, but that's because Miami stinks, not because this team's any good.
Congratulations. Put yourself down for some sort of medal?
A little bit.
Tell me why the Ravens don't cover this number.
The logic would be if the Colts can actually A, stop the run, B, just keep Lamar off the field. I love the under in this game because both teams aren't exactly built to score quickly. I see a lot of really, really long drives, mostly setting up field goals. Because I've seen Carson Wentz in the red zone. I've seen Frank Reich's play calling in the red zone. It is a disgusting thing. They're going to settle for a bunch of field goals.
Well, and the Colts have a lot of injuries. They've got Kwity Paye is going to be out. Rock Ya-Sin is going to be out.
Baltimore, of course, has the same injuries as before, but they're still banged up.
They are still banged up. They are getting, can you say, a little healthier?
They're not getting less healthy.
Well, they haven't lost any new guys, but yeah, they've still got their problems. But I just don't think this Indianapolis team is going to be competitive with good teams. Call me crazy, but I see a double-digit Baltimore win here.
That's fair. I'm going to be different. I'll take the Colts.
Think the Colts in the 7?
Yeah, I just think 7's too much. I think that the Ravens' offense is okay. They torched the Chiefs' defense, which I don't know if that means anything. So other than that, they haven't really looked that sharp offensively. Even against Denver, they were fine. They got the job done. I think they'll win the game, but I'm expecting a really low-scoring game. I don't know how this totals at 47. This total could be at 42, and I still wouldn't mind the under.
Well, I'll tell you why, because I think Baltimore puts up 27.
Okay. And how many do you think the Colts actually put up? Because you need the Colts to put up 20 in order for that to even push.
Yeah, I understand. They've got to, I think, yeah, they're going to have to get, I got them somewhere in the 14 to 17 range.
I see 23-17.
Okay.
Close game, hideous to watch. I'll be watching baseball instead.
All right, fair enough. So you've got Indianapolis and the under.
Yeah, I'm assuming you got Ravens in the under.
I'll take Ravens in the under as well. Yeah, there's
Cool.
no way I'm taking an over with this Baltimore, with this Indianapolis team.
Mhm.
All right, very good. And then there was one, sir. We have put our heads together. We have come up with our very favorite play of the day. It's not football. Well, Scott, let's find out what it is as we strap on our overalls, climb aboard that big green John Deere tractor, and fire that baby up. It's the Monday edition of Bet the Farm. All right, Scott. We did have a Bet the Farm play on Friday. Remind me how we did.
We had the Astros on the money line in game 2, and they won by a bunch of runs.
Yeehaw! All right, a little late. Very good. We were very good. We had the picked up another farm on Friday, and we look to add some more property and get some winter wheat planted, perhaps. Scott, go ahead. What do we got for today?
For this one, we're looking at the late game in the NLDS between the Giants and the Dodgers. And we like the Giants plus 1.5 runs at minus 125 on DraftKings. Scherzer is pitching for Los Angeles. Last 2 starts, not very good. 10 1/3 innings pitched, 8.71 ERA. He also did not look very sharp against St. Louis, which is why he only went 4 1/3 in the wild card game. So we think San Francisco might get to him. Meanwhile, you have Alex Wood on the mound for San Francisco. Last 3 starts, 13 innings pitched, 1.38 ERA. So the length might not be great, but the Giants have a decent bullpen, and we think Wood will hold his own. Plus, the Giants have faced the Dodgers 10 times this season in Dodger Stadium, and they are 8-2 on the reverse run line. So we think that with the extra at bat, Dodgers are up 1 in the 9th. They're not batting because they're the home team. Plus 1.5 at minus 125 with an 107 win team. We got to take that.
Yep. Absolutely correct. I don't understand. I'm thinking the Giants are going to be riding around the field with the World Series trophy, and the Dodgers are still going to be favored
minus 120
to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. They just get no respect at all for this team.
I know the Dodgers won game 2 and all, but come on. The Giants are really this big of an underdog. They've proven they can go toe-to-toe with this team.
Absolutely. They thought they would blink the entire season. They haven't, so that's why we like the Giants on the reverse run line, plus 1.5, minus 125 at DraftKings. So that's going to do it for Bet the Farm, and that's going to do it for today's show. As always, we thank you guys for watching, for listening. However you're checking us out, we appreciate the effort. For myself and for Scott Reichel, for the whole team over here at winnersandwhiners.com, thanks for being part of the show today. You guys have a great day. Good luck on all your plays, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.